okay, we get it, right? You're a revolutionary, but unfortunately, you have not yet succeeded in overthrowing the system, Katniss. What up, Ho Biscuits? It's your girl Skitten, back at it again. First and foremost, I hope you guys are doing well. I hope you guys are staying safe and sanitized. So, it's been a while since we have done some Am I the Asshole here on the channel. I'm super excited to get back into it. So excited that I literally just spent 35 minutes trying to find the right story for you guys. I wanted something, you know, that was like relatable with a little bit of drama, but also something that wasn't just obviously bait. You know, like, you feel me? For those of you guys who have spent a lot of time on Reddit and specifically on this subreddit, so many of these are just clearly rage bait or clearly karma bait. I try really hard to avoid things that use a phrase, oh, my sister was the golden child. You learned that phrase from being on Am I the Asshole? You're fake. I was the scapegoat. You're fake. So anyway, I dug through the muck and the grime to bring you this story, and I also really like it because it's super low stakes. So I'm pretty excited about this. It's Am I the Asshole for asking for a tip back at a restaurant? And y'all know how I feel about tipping, and if you don't, we'll get into that later. I'm excited to see what this post has in store for us, so without further ado, let's go ahead and get started. Am I the asshole for asking for a tip back at a restaurant? This one has been keeping me up at night. I, 24-year-old female, and my boyfriend, 24-year-old male, like most people, appreciate a good bubble tea. See, fake fan, you call it bubble tea and not boba. A week ago, we went out and grabbed lunch and teas at a bubble tea place in our town. The restaurant is not a full-service restaurant, but is one of those places where you order at the front and they yell out your number when it's ready. Okay, so it's counter serve. That's great. I always thought the rule was that you tip in sit-down restaurants where you are being served, but not in places where you grab something at the counter unless you leave a little change for a tip jar. In sit-down restaurants, I'm a stickler for always tipping at least 20%, which is good. But also, just to be clear, if you go somewhere and they are doing a service for you and tipping is an option, I do like to tip, but I feel like also that has to be reasonable, right? Like, I'm not going to tip the 7-Eleven person. Like, I'm not going to tip a cashier for ringing me out, right? But if they're literally making your food, then like, yeah, I would say you tip them because they're literally making the food for you. Like, does that make sense? So we ordered, and the woman behind the register told us the total, about $35 for 2 meals and drinks, a bit of a special splurge for us student loanees. I put my credit card into the card reader and then took my hands off and waited for the usual directions to pop up. Again, without touching the screen. And I appreciate that you're making all of this clear from jump. Like, nobody has to, well, did you? No, I wasn't touching shit. And I also appreciate, like, deliberately not doing something, because it's something that I do all the time. Like, I very deliberately make sure I'm not doing anything to screw up what's going on. So then, like, later if something goes wrong, I can be like, 'twas not me, 'twas not I. It came up as usual, 15%, 20%, 22%, or 25%. But then, before I could click skip or touch the machine at all, the button for 20% lit up orange and automatically charged me a $7 service tip. The woman at the register immediately printed and handed me the receipt for $42. Flustered and in the heat of the moment, I awkwardly explained that the price was wrong, that I hadn't selected the tip, and that the machine had randomly added it on. The woman behind the register looked at me with a blank stare and said, "So, do you want to take off the tip?" I said, "Yes, please." The woman had to call over a manager who also gave me a blank stare and confirmed that I wanted a refund for my tip. As they were printing off a special receipt in silence, I wanted to melt into a puddle on the floor. The manager handed me the tip refund receipt without saying anything, and I said an awkward thanks before scurrying off to the side to wait for the food. As we waited, my boyfriend made a joke about hoping the staff didn't spit in my food after what just happened. I asked him if what I'd done was horribly awkward. Girl, you know that what you did was awkward. You didn't have to ask that. Like, yes, it was awkward, okay? And he said, well, yeah, I wouldn't have asked for the tip back. I told my family about what I did, and my dad disagreed. He said the card reader was clearly broken or rigged, and wondered if the rigging could have been intentional. My mom thinks that's unlikely. My sister said that next time, you should just pay the $7. It's not worth it. Honestly, I agree with my sister. At this point, I'd absolutely pay the extra $7 just to avoid that incredibly awkward situation. But I have to ask Reddit, am I the asshole? First and foremost, no, you are not the asshole here, okay? I am a big believer in tips. I understand that people are like, I shouldn't have to pay the wages. The company should pay the wage. Okay, we get it, right? You're a revolutionary. But unfortunately, you have not yet succeeded in overthrowing the system, Katniss. So tip people who are performing a service for you. I get like people's objections to tipping culture or whatever, but just tip people who are doing a service for you. It's that freaking simple. But I also agree with the fact that like tipping culture is kind of out of hand. Like the other day, Chavez and I went to this anime store and you know, we bought like a couple things, like a lanyard and some shorts, some like cute little anime stuff, right? And when you paid, there was an option to tip. And I was like, why would I do, like, I did everything. You feel me? Like, does that make sense? If they're doing a service for you, you tip them. If they're not doing a service for you and are doing their job, obviously, then you are under no obligation to tip. And I feel like that's not hard, but I also feel like people misunderstand what a service is. Like somebody was arguing with me the other day. They're like, a server is not doing me a service. They're just doing their job. And I was like, right. And their job is to do you the service of refilling your drinks, taking your order, bringing out your food. They're literally doing you a service. So all of that to say, I'm a big believer in tipping, but I also firmly believe that you should get to decide how much you tip. So this automatic 20% thing that they did here, I don't vibe with that. I should get to decide how much I want to tip you. Now, if you come out with me, don't embarrass me and do nothing like tip 10% on like a sit-down meal. Counter serve, I think, is a bit different. She didn't touch it. You didn't choose the 20%. It just automatically chose the 20%. That's some fraudulent shit, and I don't like that. It really sounds like they are just charging people an automatic amount and expecting people not to notice. And I don't like that. I don't like when businesses are shady like that. Like, yes, people deserve to get paid. People deserve to get tipped for the services that they provide, but you don't get to swindle me out of my money. And in some instances, I understand automatic gratuities. For example, when I used to work at a buffet, we used to do an automatic gratuity for parties of 10 or more. Even though you're going and you're getting your own food and whatever, you're also refilling drinks for 10 plus people. You're cleaning up after 10 plus people, pre-bussing for 10 plus people. And they're taking up your entire section and making it so that you cannot make money on those tables until they leave. So if you get screwed over and you get a party of 20 in your section and then there's no automatic gratuity and they don't tip you, you've just been asked out for 2+ hours of your night. So I understand automatic gratuity in some instances, but in an instant like this, I can't support it. I can't vouch for it. So I would say, no, you're not the asshole. Now, did you make it incredibly awkward? Yes, but that's not your fault. Like me personally, I probably would have just paid the $7 because God, the lengths that I go to avoid awkward interactions in public would surprise a lot of you, I feel like. So my verdict is not the asshole. Obviously, you guys let me know in the comments below what you guys think. I would like to see what the internet says. I feel like this is a pretty clear not the asshole, but you never know. Somebody might surprise me. First of all, OP said, I might be the asshole because I asked for a tip back, even though it wasn't a huge amount of money, potentially offending 2 restaurant employees. It might have been very rude to take money right out of the hands of low-paid service workers who need it after technically paying them, even if I wasn't in control of the payment. I'm also not sure whether I'm supposed to tip service workers without table service and whether it's rude not to. You do tip some service workers without table service, so there's that. But I mean, 1, you didn't know, and 2, you didn't get to choose the tip, which is the problem. And it wasn't rude because, again, it wasn't your choice. So no, you were not the asshole here. For that specific judgment, no, you're not the asshole. Melandrew says, not the asshole. They weren't surprised it added your tip automatically. They were surprised you called out their bullshit. Have a friend go in there and see if it happens to them too. And if it does, call the police. That's called theft. As a general rule, I'll tip $1 per drink at Starbucks, $2 if it's a complicated drink. 20% is only for restaurants and sit-down restaurants. Yeah, I would definitely agree with that. My Iron Lions says, I was with you until the $1 per drink at Starbucks. What now? I would much rather support the workers fighting to unionize and use collective bargaining to get fair wages and good working conditions than normalize yet another place where the business owner gets away with not paying their staff because now patrons are expected to pay the servers' wages through tips. If we do this, the next thing you know, the starting wage at Starbucks will go down to $2.15 an hour. And this is exactly what I was talking about earlier. Kudos to you for wanting to change the system and overturn the system. But guess what? You haven't done it yet. So guess what? Those workers still need their wages, and $1 per drink is really not that excessive. Big Schlong 101, love the name, buddy, says, not the asshole. It does sound like the new payment method system is rigged. You're not obligated to pay a tip, which is why there are options at the bottom. Exactly. Personally, I'd write a Yelp review about this because if other people are also experiencing the same thing and not asking for their money because it's embarrassing / not worth it, then this place is stealing a lot of money. But if it was a glitch, then they can tell you they fixed the issue. Sounds really shady. What happened though? I definitely agree with that. Melandrew mentioned before, they weren't surprised that happened. And like, you can tell, right? Because if I say, oh, hey, this is wrong, even when I did it like the 99-cent store for like 49 cents. And the girl's like, oh my God, girl, like, I'm so sorry, blah, 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 blah. Like, you know, and you told them that you were overcharged by $7 and they were just like, so what do you want to do about it? Like, what do you think I want to do about it? What? Okay, melodic. I thought it was melodic melody and I was like, oh, that's kind of cute, but melodic just makes me feel like I'm stuttering. It's totally rigged because even selecting a percent or a dollar amount, the customer always has to agree to the final total at the end. I've never been at a machine where I'd have to scan my card first either, as it has always been at the end after the agreed total comes up. See, no, I have done that before where you scan it first, then you pick the tip, then you do blah, blah, blah. Yeah. LP is smart to see the total, as I find a lot of people don't realize what happened and sometimes they don't get a receipt at the end. Summerstorm74 said, not the asshole. I would have wanted the tip back purely for the reason that it was forced. Exactly. I can't say whether or not this was intentional by the restaurant, but I'd be upset that the computer was forcing me to tip. I get that it's a bit awkward to ask them to refund it, but you didn't do anything wrong. Coming from somebody who tips rather obscenely, according to my husband and everybody else, but don't blame me. I get it from my mama, okay? I tip a lot, and I tip a lot on everything. So 20% to me does not seem that egregious for, you know, they're making my food and my boba, whatever. But it's the fact that it was forced that would make me unhappy about the 20%. As I suspected, the general consensus is not the asshole, which, you know, I obviously fully support. But let me know what you guys think down in the comments below. Your guys' perspective on these situations is always so interesting to me. But I feel like it's pretty clear that this person is not the asshole. It is a supremely awkward situation though, and like, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry for you because the thought of this situation is making me like very uncomfortable. Like, it's making my tummy hurt. So sorry that happened to you. Don't forget to leave your reaction requests and recommendations down in the comments below. If there's a specific am I the asshole situation that you guys want me to take a look at, I'm super down. Just leave the link in the comments below, or, you know, send me an email, whatever, DM on Twitter, whatever you want to do, however you want to reach out. But I'm obviously super down, super open. And other than that, peace out, Hope Biscuits. It's skittin' lit.